budget session, which recently reached its bill crossover period, meaning the bills have passed out of their chambers of origin and are awaiting further action. Now, that further action, I believe has passed everything now, and is just waiting signature from the governor at that point. Um, Let me just look at this really quick. If anybody is in Wyoming and has an update on that, that'd be great. Please share it. Bill remains active in the Wyoming House of Representatives and moving through the floor process following committee recommendation. The next legislative steps would be House second and third readings and then occurrence approval. Once both chambers agree, it would go to the governor for signature or veto. And I believe we have passed that point. I believe it's on the governor's desk. So good news in Wyoming for tracking. We can now track black bear. If anybody is from Wyoming and knows why you couldn't before and be interested, I think I have a hunch. This has passed and is awaiting the governor's signature. Great, Brenda. Thank you. I'd be interested in why it wasn't legal before. It was a semantic, game versus trophy animal type thing or something. I'm awful curious why you couldn't use, or was it dog hunting versus tracking, and sometimes the contentiousness that happens between those two groups. Yeah, okay, Brenda says it probably won't be in place for spring, but looking forward to fall. So nice. That's good news. I'm going to try to keep bringing some of that stuff. So, what's the topic of the hour, guys? The topic of the hour is the Florida testing event and Little Miss Smiley Pants in the bottom right corner, and Kayla too. We have a happy dog with Camo right there who has a wonderful story to tell, and Kayla's going to tell it for her, and Ralph will chime in. But Kayla had and Camo. So let me just set the stage here, Ralph, and go ahead and cut me off or intervene anyway. But let me frame this. Ralph just had knee surgery and is on the mend. Kayla. Camo is babysitting Kayla while Ralph is recovering from his knee surgery, and Kayla ran Camo on a finish line and the elite line at the Florida event this weekend. Some of you may have seen Kenny went as live as long as his phone battery could stand it, and it was a lot of fun. So what we want to do tonight is just talk about the event. I love hearing the stories. I was so I wish I could have been there. I was watching the live and wanted to be there so bad I couldn't stand it. I had my grandkids at Wendy's having ice cream, and they were spilling and everything, and I'm engrossed in the live, helping the kids clean up their ice cream and stuff. It was a great time, but it was a lot of fun. So
yeah.
Kayla.
Yeah.
Tell
us.
What
do you want to know?
I want to know what was going through your head the entire time. Kenny judged it with John Vaughn, and we do need to probably provide Kenny with a list of topics not best mentioned live. I pick it on you, Kenny. I pick it on you, buddy. But go ahead. Kenny judged it. So, Kenny, you want to frame it up a little bit before we let Kayla? Like I said, Kayla, I want you to spare no detail, and Ralph, I want you to chime in too, because I know this means a lot to you. How old is Camo, Ralph?
She'll be 9 in May.
9 in May. Do you think? And I know they have a much longer lifespan and service life than say my bloodhound. But would you say that she's nearing the twilight of her career?
Good night. If she's not at her twilight, ooh, Lordy.
That's what I'm saying. And there's a couple reasons that this is pretty damn special. And because I love dogs and I love wonderful things, I'm getting a little I'm getting a little okay, I'll say emotional about it, because it's just a wonderful story, and it couldn't have happened for greater people. You know, Ralph, I think everybody who's following probably knows it, but Camel had a pretty darn rough ending to the tracking season, and it was I think everybody's heart got ripped out with the uncertainty, and then to rebound and accomplish what she did this weekend in the twilight of her career is just.
Hang on just a second. Let me set it up.
Please do.
Before that.
Okay.
She had to have, we had puppies off of her last March. She had to go into an emergency C-section because it ruptured her uterus. If we wouldn't have had a vet on standby and called them to get in there at 4:00 on Saturday morning, she probably wouldn't have made it through that if we couldn't have got her to the vet quick enough.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that, Ralph.
Yeah. So she's had a heck of a year at the vet. And so you can go ahead and continue. I just want to throw that in because she
So let's build on that. So it started in March, right?
I don't want to cut you off, but I'd really like to take this at some point all the way back to the beginning, the very beginning.
Well, I guess there's no better place to start than at the beginning of the show with the beginning of the story.
So my beginning may not be the same as Ralph's, but my beginning was when I met Ralph is when he brought Camo for training. And even before that, we had trained a lot of dogs. And Ralph probably remembers this, but we had Camo for 2 weeks, and she was already smashing 30-hour-old trails at over a half mile long. And I really didn't know Ralph like I do now. And I remember I called him and I was joking around. I said, well, I can't do anything more with your dog. And I remember him saying, well, what do you mean? You know, I spent a lot of money on the dog, and I was playing it off, you know, like she wasn't going to make the cut. And Ralph came over and he met me at a property we had in Madison, and worked a track, and she smoked it. That dog literally from day one was a natural. You remember that, Ralph?
Oh yeah. Yep.
You know, I wanted to take it back there because that's where it began, and then I want to take it back to when Kayla first started.
What year was that? What year was that, Kenny?
Ooh, I don't know.
Was it about 9 years ago?
9 years ago, yeah.
She was
8 months old.
She was 7.5 months old at the end of the season. So she was probably 14 months old when you got her. 15.
Was that old?
Yeah, it was right before the season.
That's right.
Over because I'd ran her on 4 tracks the season before that, and she just did awesome. I said I got to get her some formal training right before the season, and that's when you got her. Was that?
So I mean, it's been 8 or 9 years ago, so it's been a while.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Go ahead, Kenny. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just kind of wanted
to you're good.
Underscore that.
Yeah, and I mean just from then on, Camo just got better and better. You know, and it's Ralph didn't have to do much. Don't give him much credit.
The credit is stay out of her way.
Yeah, that's probably the best advice any handler could get.
Ask Kayla what my advice was to her. Follow.
Yeah.
Just follow.
Just like a regular track.
Yeah.
That's what it is, right? I mean, Anyway, so go ahead, Kenny. Build up because I'm anxious. I don't want to rush through it because the background matters. It's awesome, but I really
yeah. I mean, I'll pretty much leave it there. From there, the rest is Ralph. And then Kayla came on board the tracking scene. What, Kayla? Probably 4 years ago.
Yep, 4 years ago.
And the reason I wanted to take it back there is at the end of the test line, I'm not going to give away the details and all that yet, but at the end of the test line, Kayla said something to me that really really put it all together, and that's why I wanted to go all the way back to the beginning. And
Kayla, you don't say it now, Kayla, but do you remember what that was?
Yes.
Let's put a pin in that.
So I'll let Ralph kind of take it from here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to set the stage of how good she was from just a young pup.
Yeah. Are we switching over to Kayla now?
No, you, Ralph. Tell us.
No, I mean about when Kayla come into the picture. Or are we still talking about Camo?
Wherever you want to go. I think they're both relevant and important.
Well, as far as Camo, I'll get to Kayla in a minute, but year after year, she just keeps. You asked a while ago if she's at her peak. I don't know, because she keeps getting better. I mean, it's hard to believe, but she hasn't gone backwards any. That's for sure. And I mean, that is one of the smartest dogs I've ever been around in my life. You literally just stay out of her way. She will figure it out. And every year she just does some of the things that just can't fathom that a dog's that smart. Mm-hmm. And Kayla is a testament to that as far as being out there watching it. It's just unbelievable. And so when all this came about, we knew we just got to get her to the test. And obviously I'm biased because I get to, well, Kayla is too, because I get to see her every track. And my problem with my dogs, it's hard not to turn her out. So my other dogs get second fiddle to everything because they're trying to perform for a customer. You want your best out there, and it's hard not to turn her out because she's tough out there in the woods. Now switching over, Kayla can chime in a little bit here. We met Kayla. It all started on a track that they had. Her husband Daniel, they had shot one, and Jason Bell, who we track with a lot, he had talked to her. Mm-hmm. I can't remember if it was the first time or the second time is when we decided to go out there, because I think the first time you already had somebody else coming to the track. Well, then Jason just checked back up on her, and they had not found it. He said, well, we're out tracking if you want us to come. Now, bear in mind, this was like midnight one night.
Oh, yeah.
And they said, well, yeah, come on. So
we said, if he's crazy enough to track, then what do we got to lose? If they're great, we'll do it.
So we took them out there, and we didn't get the deer, but we found the deer. It was alive, but it was bedded up, probably 900 yards past where the last people stopped.
About a mile.
Camo just hit the ground and just didn't stop and went in there. And another one of the attributes to Camo that's freaking unbelievable is if she's by herself, she'll go in there and circle the deer. So if you start seeing that on your Garmin, you better get your butt in there because she's circling up. And what's cool, I can tell you whether the deer's laying down, whether it's standing up by how Camo's acting or barking. So if it's laying down, she'll circle. If it's standing up, she'll bay it. Obviously, if it's moving, she'll run it.
Yeah.
But it's just, I can tell you, she'll be circling, and then all of a sudden the deer will stand up and she'll go to bark. I've had it stand up and lay back down, and she'll go back to circle. It's just unbelievable, which helps with how you approach that area.
Oh yeah.
In quiet, come in downwind, all those things, or upwind, I guess, to where you got to strategize, and she lets you know how to do it. And it's cool as crap. But whatever, we went in and that's what we did, and jumped the deer, and it wasn't dead, and we couldn't do anything with it. So, but Kayla liked that.
I Facebook stalked you. I saw who your breeder was, who your trainer was. Called you on like 5 other tracks for our club that year. Called Kenny, was like, I've got a poodle. Can you train a poodle?
What did he tell you?
He never trained a poodle. Well, it's a golden doodle, but he's like, I've never trained a golden doodle before, but sure. And they trained Stella. I used her first. I don't think anyone took me seriously that year. And, when they were going through our first ABTA event, actually that was the first event because ABTA just started in Fargo. We were at Fargo, and I did the application for the Florida Blood Trail Network. And of course, doing the application, I'm new. I don't know anything. I just had a dog trained, and I don't know anything as a handler. So I had to have a mentor, and they're like, well, who do you want your mentor to be? And I'm like, Ralph.
Yeah.
He's the best, and I want to learn from the best, and he has the best dog. And I figured that out pretty quick. So I followed Ralph, and he couldn't get rid of me. And so we always tell people, yeah, I tracked for her 1 year, and then I couldn't get rid of her after that. That's probably the truth. I would call him, and anytime he had a track to go on, I'm like, where are you going to be at? Where are you going? And of course, I couldn't keep up with his pace, right? Because I'm still learning. But I think we did like 40 tracks that year. My first year with you with Stella, and she did okay.
Well, let me pause there. A lot of it was Kayla doubting herself.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
I remember a phone call.
Oh, from Kayla. Okay. Oh, yeah. My very first track.
That's normal. That is completely normal, man.
Yeah.
To doubt yourself.
I didn't have enough confidence, but that's because I also didn't really know much, and but I was learning. And
she's came a long way since then.
Yeah, a long way.
Thanks to Campbell.
Haven't we all? Yeah.
So the end of the season, Ralph's like, when are you going to get you a real dog? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you need a wiener dog. I'm like, I do. So we got Sophie. Sophie was my first Teckle, so I tracked with her all to 2024 season, and she did really well. But I knew I needed to add more to my pack. I think we did 150 tracks that season with Sophie. And Ralph and I finally kind of graduated. Well, we can probably talk about this more too, but apprenticeship status, that season was the season that I think really turned it, the switch just flipped for me. I got to encounter all kinds of scenarios that we hear everyone talking about. I actually got to experience it live, handle it myself, learned so much through Ralph, how to read the dogs. I became an ABTA judge that year too. So because I also started laying lines and helping judge, I learned a lot about how to read different dogs, not just one dog, the dogs I've constantly been with and tracking with, but all kinds of other dogs, breeds, and handlers, and watching different handlers, how they were with their dogs. I learned a lot from that too. And then Camo had puppies, and then I got my gator, and he is phenomenal. I love him so much. I think we did how many over 200 something tracks this year, Ralph?
247.
Yeah. And
wow.
I mean, that alone.
Well, you abandoned me some. You didn't do 247.
Well, you weren't on some of mine either. So, you were in out of town for Thanksgiving. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
So we partner because I have a 14-year-old daughter too, so she has stuff going on with school. But I have clients or customers that call me for tracks, and friends of mine, our hunt club. I was like, hey, if you have a deer, just call me. I would love to track it. I need the experience, and if I can't find it, I have got the best dog, Ralph, that'll back me up. So I had a lot of people calling me wanting to give me a chance, and just learning from that, and then getting a lot of people that ended up becoming kind of my regulars, and vice versa. Ralph would have his regulars he couldn't go to. We just trusted each other and how we handled ourselves at the track, putting them first, putting the hunter at the best advantage, how we handled, could read the dogs. I mean, they trusted us just from our reputation. And that's how I grew. So the best mentor, I'm biased, so having the best mentor and dog to track with.
And this past season, I asked her if she wanted to track under camo track, and so that was obviously I wouldn't have asked her if I didn't trust her, but she wanted to set all the way around, just awesome person and good tracker, and she keeps the reputation going as far as my team.
Upholding the camo track standard that
you guys have. Yep.
So I got to share something.
Oh no!
And I wish we'd have had a camera going when this took place.
At the end?
No, not there. Long before that, when you came to the very first ABTA judges workshop.
Oh yeah.
And she put on a pair of tracking shoes for the first time.
King Kong walking.
Oh no! I don't know. Walking. Big Bird
so
walking.
Awkward.
Big Bird walking. Gene Simmons in his platform boots walking.
It was
Gene
like
Simmons crossed with RuPaul on. I don't know what you would call
it. Like a baby giraffe.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
I've heard that story.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
And I honestly forgot about it till John and I we were laying the test line, and John was wearing the shoes, and I was walking in front of him, guiding, mapping it out basically.
Yeah.
And we got to one point, and John says, "Just for good measure, I have to walk like Kayla through this part."
I love it.
That's funny.
And I look back, and he's doing this high step with his feet about up to his shoulders.
Maybe that's a new feature at events that Kayla's going to be at. Everybody we do the Kayla walk race or something.
What was funny is all of us thought that she was joking around when she did it. And she was dead serious.
So she basically looked like the cat when you put booties on the cat.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's it, Ralph.
Ralph sent me like a meme on Messenger or something one time, and he's like, "This was you," and I'm like, I can't even deny it. It's
okay.
Yeah.
Cassie Long's comment. She said that was hilarious. I was there.
Yeah, Cassie was there.
Yeah. That's very funny.
Gosh. And then I even remember we were like, let's run a dog on this little sample line we just did. And I was like, let me do Potter. And I did Potter, and I was horrible. Even then I was terrible at it. Now looking back, I'm like, that's funny, but you got to start somewhere.
So I'll take it from there to her first test.
Okay.
And she
first test she was the testee or the first test.
Yes,
huh?
She was the testee.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I was videoing it, and Jason Bell was the judge. If I'm right, yeah, Jason Bell was the judge, and I videoed it. And we were all walking behind her because this was at the judge's workshop, or just after. It was actually the second judge's workshop, and we're behind her, and I'm behind her, and John's behind her. John and I, worked with this dog. And I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, the way Stella worked, Kayla does something to dogs where they don't want to leave her side very much. And it's not just one dog, it's like a lot of dogs. But anyways, Stella was progressing forward and then stopping and looking back. Kayla wasn't moving. She was just standing there looking at the dog, and I'm like, it was all I could do not to say something. And every time Kayla would take a step forward, Stella would go forward, and she was right on the line.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of it was nerves.
I was the first time I'd ever done a test, so
yeah,
testing is good.
So
it's good.
We get almost to the end, and she runs out of time, and Stella's literally nailing the line, and Kayla again froze. But what was funny is, we give feedback after a test. So Jason's giving her feedback, and then I, kind of spoke up, and she's like, no, I didn't. I wasn't stopping. She got defensive. And I said, hang on, we got this on video.
Yeah. That's and then you walked the test with me again. You walked the whole line with me and showed me what I was not understanding. And then I learned how to read Stella. Oh, well, I didn't really use her very, because I need her to leave based on how we track here. I do need a dog to leave me. But she can track. I mean, she did. She showed me. I can't go that slow. Not with how many tracks we have. That's
all of your training and all. I can't get over the Kayla's stubbornness though. I ain't got rid of that. I ain't figured that one out.
No,
that's funny.
Daniel's still trying to figure it out.
I haven't either.
That's too funny.
So
yeah,
for me to be there on her very first test, and then to be there on this test line and see the progression difference, it was amazing.
Thank you.
Well, and man, I really do wish I was there. I mean, it just wouldn't work out. But man, I really would love to have just experienced the weekend with you guys. But so, go ahead, Ralph.
And when Kayla came to me, she said, "We need to run camo." She said, "We got to get her on these tests." And I said, "You got to get her on this test because I can't do it." I said, "There's no way." So, and I knew I didn't. Personally, I never even got nervous. I knew she could do it. I mean, it was just, I see her work too much. So I'm
just a matter of checking the box in your mind, Ralph.
I had no doubt. And camo, I had no doubt. Our talks was just stay out of the way. Stay out of her way. Do what you got to do, but stay out of her way. When it comes to you making a decision, it's not going to be telling camo what to do. It's going to be, like property line issues. I said, you just got to direct her. I said, I knew both of them. That's about all we talked about. It was, and calming the nerves, obviously.
Yeah.
She gets, I have figured out her telltale. I can read Kayla now.
Just as good as you can, camo.
Lordy.
So, Ralph, are you saying you just got to stay
her to clean your house, make her nervous?
I wasn't nervous.
I don't believe that, Kayla. For some reason, I don't believe that. Well,
I was anxious. I was ready to do it.
Potato.
So I want to comment on something. So, talking about Kayla's development and in the relatively accelerated pace that she has got to the point where you're at, Kayla, and you are in an excellent environment in a couple of ways for that curve to become really flat for you. And what I mean is, you've already talked about it. You have an outstanding mentor in Ralph, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that, but you also there's a saying, experience is the best teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So you are provided with the way the seasons are in Florida, with your affiliation connection with Ralph, who's established. You had the opportunity to get on obscene amount of tracks. at least in general. Okay, I mean, especially earlier in your career. I went on 42 my very first year. You know, my peak is 86, and I'm 5 years in, or whatever I'm in, something like that. You know, so you have an opportunity. So when you get the horsepower that you have with mentorship, combined with the opportunity you have to apply what you've learned in real scenarios, no wonder you did well. And there's a third element to that. Someone who is committed, dedicated, and has the interest and desire to learn, and are a sponge for learning like you are. You know,
I will tell you, this is not for the lighthearted or the weak.
No,
it is hard for a reason. Ralph pushed me. He challenged me. The tracks did as well, but not every. I mean, you can't. There's too many things that you have to be aware. You have to be. Your dogs are out there. You've got to know what's going on, your surroundings.
Yeah.
You're putting your dog at risk potentially if you're in a tight area where maybe you have a small property line to work with and there's roads around. Like, it's just the strategy. Plus, if we're potentially have a live deer, which how to handle that. And we could, I mean, you guys talk about this all the time, but on all the different podcasts that you have, but being in all of those real life experiences, and we talk about the track kind of before we get there, we kind of know what's going on. During the track, we're talking about why we're doing this. I'm asking him questions. If I did something wrong, he let me know. And I mean, because his dog's on the line, and that is I might as well go bury myself if something happens to his dog.
And I want to. Oh, I'm sorry. I want to clarify something, because as you were talking, I was playing back what I said in my head, and it may have sounded like it's, you know, you just got it because you had great opportunity, great mentors, and I didn't mean to dismiss that. You got it because you worked for it and you earned it.
That's what I'm trying to say. Is a lot of people would probably quit if they had to deal with some of the stuff that, and not Ralph, just the situations and him making me better and me learning from him and being a sponge. And I wanted to get better, and it's not easy. It's not, you know, unfortunately some people want to do this when it's convenient for them, and maybe like 1 or 2 a weekend, or this was a commitment. I wanted to be good, and I enjoyed it. I had fun at it too. But I didn't want to leave a deer in the woods. I don't want to leave a deer in the woods. And I can't be confident when I leave a track to know that I did everything that I could have done to possibly find this deer and learn how to read the dogs. I wanted to make sure that we didn't leave any deer in the woods.
So you earned it. I want to underscore that you earned it, and you worked for it. I hope it didn't come across that you. Oh yeah, you're good because you were privileged. No. You earned it. You worked your tail off for it.
People, I'm by myself sometimes. I'm in the woods. Sometimes hunters are not very friendly. You never know what you're going to come up with. So you have to have a backbone to do this. I mean, sometimes I'm running through, I might be running a mile through the woods, up and down pine roads, through thick crap, getting cut up all over my arms, whacked in the face with limbs, trying to catch the dog, making to get there, and then going through mud, spider webs.
Snake nest, I know, pterodactyls, whatever you guys have down there.
I mean, you have to be on your A game. It's not a leisurely activity. I mean, anybody who's good at it this is not how they think of it.
And at the level we do it at, there is no slacking. There is, and she, even being with me, she can test that. I mean, it's 24-hour days. It's just nonstop. It just go. And next thing you know, it's tomorrow. There's a whole nother set of tracks.
Yeah.
And so it's
full tilt boogie.
I mean, I put her in a lot of I could take a lot of things and take them on, but I throw her in the fire. I mean, she's used to it now, and it's made her a better tracker and better aware of everything that's going on, because that experience. I mean, we run into more things in 1 year than a lot of people run into it in their career doing this.
Mm-hmm. Zero question about that, especially guys like you.
And like I tell
people that track
probably not going to run into anything I haven't ran into. I could be wrong, but we just run into a ton. And down here you got gators, you got snakes, you got just everything you can imagine down here, and you got to be aware, and you have got to be on your A game for the dog safety. And man, you can ask her. I put the dogs ahead of me. Sometimes
dogs first, handlers second, hunters third. That's how I do it.
We're like, is deer or dogs? Which one? Dogs.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of decision.
Your deer doesn't mean anything to me.
No,
absolutely not.
I've pulled off a track before, and even the hunter was like, and it takes this person with a backbone to make that decision sometimes, because I hate to let somebody down, but I'd rather have the dog. Sorry. And sometimes hunters aren't okay with that, but I mean, they get it,
Then those are the hunters that have the DNT next to their name.
Yeah. Well, most everybody they're understand. They're like, yeah, no,
Oh, most of them 100% are. I get it, but yeah, I would, yeah. So, Ralph, how many tracks would you, and I know you don't know the exact number, but how many tracks would you hazard to guess, order of magnitude, Camo's got under her belt?
Right around 1,400.
Right around 1,400 tracks. At what, probably 45, 50%, 60%?
We usually run about 67%.
67%.
Right at that, give or take a percent.
That's really good. And you run camo off lead, right?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. See, so that's another thing that I think a lot of many people probably don't realize, is that camo, being a white-haired dachshund, Teckle, you run her off lead.
Oh yeah.
And a lot of people, just because they're so driven, and I don't have one. I've been around some, and I know friends, lots of people who have them, and I've judged a couple. But they are tenacious, driven little.
I will say this: they're not all the same.
Oh yeah.
And she is just, Lordy. And
she's a once in a lifetime dog.
It's the word that was coming to mind for me was a unicorn. She's a unicorn dog almost.
But I've got another one. We've got the 2 puppies that we're running off of her, and they are just they're so different than the other Teckles that I've been around.
Mm-hmm.
They are all in the second they hit the ground, and they're not. You would be doing a disservice to them to put them on a lead. They are hunting fools.
Yeah.
And they're all independent, which Kenny promotes that in his training, but we really work at that. And that is that's probably one of the biggest attributes of the pack, I would say. They're just every one of them doesn't depend on the other dog at all.
Yeah.
So we got 4 independent dogs out there. It's hard to miss a deer when you got this many dogs that are independent, that's out hunting. Yeah. They're not following each other at all. And it I don't know, I've told many of people, I don't know that I'd track if I didn't have these. I'm sure I would, but I just can't imagine it without them. They're just unbelievable.
Yeah, I love hearing stories like that, and I can't wait, Kayla, to get into the specific story. But I had another question I wanted to ask, or point I wanted to raise. What the heck was it? But before we get into the weekend events, Ralph and Kayla, walk us through how camo season ended, just so because that's important. So we already know she was at the vet in March for ruptured uterus with her puppies. Did all the puppies survive?
One was dead. The first one out was dead. That's what alerted us to call the vet.
Okay.
And then 2 others died after, a week after. So we ended up with 5 total.
5 total.
Out of 8.
5 of 8, yeah. So we know in March she had that serious emergency. Rebounded from that, got your 240 whatever tracks in before the incident with camo. So share that as much as you're willing and able. Were you with him, Kayla? Were you there when it happened?
No.
I would. I was the one handling camo. Ralph was on his way back from out of town, and he was on I-95 in some pretty bad traffic about 6 hours away. So, track, I'll tell you what happened. We were on the 5th track of the day. It was a deer that had been shot that morning. They had already jumped it. We were putting on it 9 hours later. They had intestine along the track, and they'd already gone almost 3/4 of a mile. And they called me. I happened to be right around the corner from them, and they called me as I was leaving another track I was leaving Green Cove, heading back to Georgia. So I had a good probably 2-hour drive to get back to one of our clients. And they called me, and I was like, all right, I'm here. I will come. They're one of our good people. I knew based on what they were telling me that it was intestine, that the deer was probably still alive, even 9 hours after. And not many dogs will, from what I've seen from her and my experience, knowing intestine tracks are totally different. They're very difficult. And so I knew that I needed to catch dogs out. I say catch dogs because I wanted to make sure we could bay it and get to it and sustain it. And then also camo, because I knew she could trail it and not a problem. So on the track, we finally catch up with the deer. I can hear them baying the deer. It is very, very thick, very, very thick. I'm trying to get into her, and about 50 to 75 yards after the initial jump, we have it contained, and we were able to dispatch it and realize that camo is not there with the rest of the dogs. She's still 50 yards back where the jump started. And all I knew was, I was like, I'm about to find a dead dog. I was like, this is not happen. So I went back to look for and she was laying there, had 2 puncture wounds in her front shoulder and 4 on her abdomen. And when I assessed her, she couldn't get up off of her back side because, of course, the puncture wounds, and her, at the time, didn't know it, but her left leg, all the muscles and the abdominal wall had been ruptured, along with some of her organs were displaced.
I might have to ask you. You might have to stop getting into so much detail. Go ahead.
So I come up on her after the adrenaline rush of catching all that, helping dispatch it ethically, and I see her and I yelled. My husband was with me as well. He was back with the hunters, helping them get it out, and I yelled, "We got to go now!" So I picked her up and I ran. I told him to go get the truck, meet me at the road, because we were so far in the woods that I had to run about 3/4 of a mile back to the road. So, and then we were, on top of that, we were probably 2 or 3 miles deep into the woods. So it's not like an easy exit to get out of here. So ran back to the truck, stabilized her, wrapped her in bandages, put iodine on her. Just, I didn't want her to get infected. I didn't know if she was bleeding internally. She was still aware. And we kind of, on the way to the fastest, we got to the ER that I knew that was open. It was a Saturday after Thanksgiving. So it's a holiday weekend and there's not many people probably working, and it's Saturday at like 6:00, right? I finally get reception and I call Ralph while I'm running out with her. Call Ralph and I said, hey, because we had just talked to him. So let me back up. We had just talked to him that we had got the deer and hung up the phone. So I'm calling him and he's like, why are they calling? Why is Kayla calling me frantic? He thought it was a joke because I was like, hey, Camo's been gored. We're headed to the ER. I know of a vet that's within 30 minutes of here. His vet was 3 hours away. And I'm like, I don't know how much time she has, but she's been gored in her intestines. I don't know if she's bleeding internally. We got to go. And he was like, well, whatever it takes. I trust you. Take her wherever you got. It sounds like you got it handled. All right. And so I hung up the phone with him. We got in the truck, my husband was driving, not the speed limit, making some pretty bad driving.
Appropriately so.
We were bad. I had Camo in my arms and again, just putting pressure. And I honestly, she went into shock. Like I thought that we were losing her because her eyes, like, anyway, it was just bad. I was crying, praying over her. And I promised her, I said, if you make this, you can sleep in my bed. I promise you, I will never let anything happen to you ever again. I said, and I was just talking to her. I know this sounds crazy, but when you've got this,
no, it does not at all.
In your arms, and I'm like, oh, I was like, I just knew it would be under my watch. Something would happen to her when Ralph's not here. And I also was looking at her and I said, I promise you, you make it through this, I will get you to test all the way through to your elite. I said, we are going to test you. I promise, Camo. And I just kept talking to her just to try to keep her. I didn't want her to go to sleep. And I didn't know what was going on with her. So anyway, so they stabilized her at the ER vet. They didn't have a surgeon that was able to open her up to assess. They didn't want to open her up there because they weren't sure what kind of damage was internally. So they recommended that we go to the UF small animal hospital because they're a trauma 1 hospital. It was like you're going to the maternity ward. Like this UF was amazing. Hands-on, couldn't have had better care. So they stabilized her at Focus Pet Care is where we were at on Kingsley Avenue, and got her blood pressure back, gave her some blood, and wrapped her up for me and sent me on my way. So I had another 1.5-hour drive, almost 2-hour drive to UF. Called, of course, Ralph during that time, let him make that official decision. And he was like, whatever it takes, take her. And he was on his way back. So he was just going to meet us there. So we get to UF and they did scans on her and they were unsure. They thought that she had organs punctured. They didn't sure if one of the wounds was kind of high up on her back. So they didn't know if it had possibly got her spine and she may have been paralyzed because she hadn't moved or stood or walked since I picked her up from the woods. And she also had some type of tissue that was hanging out of her. I didn't know what it was. I told Ralph, I was like, I think it's her abdominal wall. I'm not sure. It's not organ, but there's tissue hanging out of her. And I was putting it back in while we were driving. So it was bad. It was really bad. And you can tell Ralph met me at UF. She'd already went into surgery by that point in time because he was able to talk to the vet and they told him everything he was going to do over the phone. Which was they were going to, open her up in her abdomen, put her kidneys, her organs back, clean her up, put her, they thought that there might be ruptured organs, and thank God there wasn't. Put her abdominal wall back in place, put the muscles in her leg back in place, and also suture the wounds in her shoulder and her back. So Ralph met us there. That's probably when I saw Ralph was about when I broke down. That was a really tough phone call to make to him, but then seeing him in person.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And we stayed there all night. We stayed there all night. And I think, 5 o'clock in the morning, they called us and said she had made it out of surgery. And they told us that none of her organs had been punctured and they think she's going to make a full recovery. But they had obviously don't know for sure until the day goes on how she reacts, if there was any damage that was potentially done. And as you can see, she made a full recovery.
She stayed in there, what, 5
days?
5 days in the hospital. So
yeah. And Ralph, we didn't get to see her until that was Saturday night. We saw her Monday. So we didn't get to see her for 2 days. But
yep.
Man, oh man, oh man.
If you need to know how to get to the UF hospital, we know it well.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I hope you never have to know about it.
The Florida State game was ending as we were pulling up into the hospital. So we were like, man, but it was luckily it was against traffic. It just ended. We just caught the traffic in time.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah.
It was honestly like how everything happened. Like she's a miracle that God kept her around for a reason.
Well, I mean, that, I'm a sucker for my pets, man. And that I'm glad I didn't like hearing the story. I will tell you that.
Yeah. Now I can't get Camo back.
Now you can't get Camo back.
You said it was okay. I checked her out.
You better hide all the baseball bats, Ralph, because you got another knee there that Kayla's going to be coming after.
So the first night that she came home, I let her sleep with me. I was like, can I please let her sleep with me, Ralph?
Oh, yeah.
I promised her.
Kayla, remember when I told you at the top of the show here that the answer to "Did you watch last week's show?" is always yes. No one will know the difference. She, as far as Ralph knows, Camo was in her kennel.
He knows better.
Of course, baby. I'm a sucker. My dogs don't go in the kennel at night.
Yeah, so as she started to recover and I started to think about it, I kind of approached Ralph and I was like, I knew she only had her started done from our stocking event 2 years ago. So I said, I think she's an elite dog. And I know Ralph, with his knee surgery he had coming up.
In the past 2 years, this is my second knee.
Yeah.
This is your second knee.
Yeah. So there hadn't been many testing opportunities for me.
Yeah.
No, in fact, it's just before your last surgery, I think, that I handled Camo on her UBT test, right? UBT 2, was it just before or just before your last knee?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Did you do her? I thought you did Icky.
Maybe it was Icky.
Yeah,
that's right. It was Icky.
I did the UBT 2.
That's right.
And I did 1, 2. I did all of her UBT stuff.
Yeah, yep. And I was actually apprentice judge on her UBT off lead.
Correct. Yeah, and that. Okay. Yeah, they found out how she was actually the first tackle to pass the UBT off lead test. I think she was the 5th dog in the nation and the first small dog to do it. And Kenny was there, and that judge was he was like, holy smokes.
Yeah, it was funny because beforehand he was like, well, we're going to have to stand right here and just wait because, that dog, we got to let it get out of sight for the requirements of the test. I said, and we're riding together. And I said, no, you won't. And
he got out of the truck and kind of interviewed me and said, well, what do you think you're going to do when she does? I said, first of all, you need to stop. You're not going to see this dog. I said, I'm going to give you 20 yards in about 2 seconds, and you're going to lose sight of her. He goes, you're kidding me. I said, no. I said, you will not see this dog. We let her out. She hit the trail, and I looked at him and I said, how long was that? And he said, about 2 seconds. And they said some other stuff, what's she going to do when she hits the scent gap and stuff like that. I said, she's going to stop. They said, she won't go on. I said, nah, she's going to stop or circle back and try to find it. And I said, we'll know it when she hits it. Sure enough, we were walking up, following her, but behind her.
Yep.
She stopped and just started hunting around. I said, I guess she's at this scent gap now. And he goes, yeah. And I said, he goes, yep, guess so. So we did it. And they're new to it too, because this is the only 5th time that they had ran the off lead. And we're probably getting off on stuff we don't need to, but it's
no, go ahead, buddy.
And on their test, they can take you across the scent gap and show you where to pick it up. And I said, I don't need that. I said, we'll find it. I said, is there anything that says y'all can't go out and make a 90 out of the scent gap? He goes, no, you could. And I said, well, we can find it. I said, so I just got her hooked around, made a circle around, and boom, hit it. I said, y'all come on, she's got it. It's a little stuff like that, but you can't make them decisions without a dog that you trust.
Mm-hmm.
You just,
that's right.
You know how she's going to act every single. You can ask Kenny every step of the way. We knew what was going to happen because they told us what we were going to run into, and I told them what was going to happen. Sure, it happened. She's so easy to. I shouldn't say so easy to read. She's easy for me just because I'm around her so much, but she's just so consistent.
Yeah.
And Kayla can read her as good as I can now. So that's why when
it's pretty easy to read.
Huh?
She's pretty easy to read.
Yeah.
Especially that tail gets going.
Oh, yeah.
The key is not to interfere. Most people get impatient or think they don't have confidence, and then they want to interfere. And, that's the.
You cannot outthink.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we can talk about that later. But to kind of get back, I approached Ralph and asked if he would be okay if I help take her and get her finished, her seasoned and her finished and on her elite test. And if he would be okay with it, I'd be honored to take her. And he was like, absolutely. I said, it's a shame. Like the fact that she's alive after all that happened, I feel like we got to do it, because it would have been devastating. I think if something would have happened, in the negative direction after between having puppies last year, she had a long year, but the puppies last year and that emergency surgery, and then between getting gored, I'm like, and she didn't get to do it. I'm like, she's alive. We're doing it.
She asked, but I didn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she framed it as a question, but you clearly understood what the answer was supposed to be, right?
It's his dog, so, but,
Really? Is it?
Yes.
Really?
She fits right in over here. She's got her own little bed. She's got her own place and everything.
Yeah, it's like going to grandma's house or Aunt Kayla.
Right, I'm Aunt Kayla. That's right. I checked her out. No, he knows he can have her back anytime he wants. But seriously though, the other thing is with him, you can with him having his surgery too. I've actually been taking her on walks several times a week, because with humans too, or with animals, when you're having surgery and you're recovering, she gets a little thick. And then usually on opening day of tracking season, she's got to lose about 7 pounds. I'm not kidding. She was
just a little thick.
Thick with 2 C's. And she was like a Tootsie Roll on opening day. And it took about a month for her to get to where she slimmed down and was really just moving. But she would overheat. The first, week, 2 weeks, we'd have to really watch because of her health. And I'm like, if we keep her moving, especially after having surgery, I don't want her to be stoved up. And then come opening day and it impact her health. I was like, if you don't care, I'm going to take her on walks all the time. So that's what I do. We go on walks. And she moved great Saturday between doing a finished and an elite test. And yesterday she was out in the yard trying to do zoomies all around me. And I'm like, I guess she's fine. I thought she'd be, kind of sore and not wanting to walk around. But yesterday she was just running around having time of her life.
Had a little pep in her step, a little pride in her stride, huh?
Yeah, she acts like nothing's wrong. So
she's snoring. Because nothing's
right
wrong.
now. Yeah.
Well, let's get to the test.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. So hold on a second. I want to come back. I want before you get into it. So Kayla, you were a little concerned about telling the story. Some dude named Daniel, last name Tyer, says, "Tell the story just like you told it to me." So I don't know what that means, but it must mean something to you. Okay?
We watched the whole live video together last night.
Okay.
And I talked to him about everything. And then there was a part in the video, Kenny, which I paused it at on my phone when we were at the goat.
Oh, no.
And you kept showing John, like you kept taking John's phone and showing us that we were on the line to the T the whole time, except for that scent gap, which was pretty interesting. But when you showed where we were at with the goat, you could see where the finish, where it went all the way to the end. And so I was able to sit there and explain to Daniel after the live event ended, because your phone died. I was able to explain to him what happened after that, because you had the screen up to show the line. And it was exciting. I felt bad for everybody because it was so climatic, and then it was like we were at the good part, and then his phone died.
I know. We blame Kenny for that, Kayla. We absolutely blame Kenny for that. Now,
Ralph was watching it live in the truck, and then he finally turned, because it went dead. He had to turn. I have a Garmin XL in the truck, so he turned that on, and then he was able to see me.
So you're able to follow along on the Garmin, huh, Ralph?
Oh yeah.
Except he didn't know the line.
But you know the line. He knew what Camo was doing. He knows what the Camo's line looks like. But so look, you did 2 tests. You did the finish and the elite, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to remind folks, in the ABTA, every test is sequenced. You must pass a previous test to take the next test.
Correct.
The next test. So the elite test was predicated on you passing the finish test.
The started, the seasoned, the finished, and then elite would be the next.
Right. Yeah, that's right. But for the weekend, you did the finished and the elite.
Yes.
For the weekend. So Saturday morning. So you had to have passed at last weekend. You had to pass the finished before you could run the elite.
Correct.
Okay. So Daniel says, I think Kenny did it on purpose to build anticipation.
Well,
that's going to get him kicked
on purpose, but I definitely capitalized on it.
He was a little sad. He didn't get to see what all happened afterward. Yeah, he's like, I wish I would have been there, But
yeah, me too. I wish I was too. But
I was very, very disappointed.
It happens, man.
But everyone's phone died really quick that day. It's just being in the woods,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if the signal's weak, there's more. You were using a lot of power streaming.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I expected it to happen just because for those reasons. Still, it was a bummer, but that's okay. Now, the other thing I want to remind people: the elite test, Michigan, Iowa. That is only the 30 elite test ever ran.
Yep.
And
I got to participate on the first elite test in Michigan.
And you did. That's right, Kayla. The first elite test was in Michigan last year, and you got to participate. I was a participant too. It was a lot of fun.
It was.
The second one was in Iowa. It was a lot of crowd participation there, and the third one was in Florida. and you were the premier participant. Well, I mean, Camo was, but you were just kind of there making decisions at certain areas. But
yeah.
Ooh. But so I remind people, and at the same time, folks, if you want to know the nitty gritty about the elite, you can go on to abta.org and look in ABTA AmericanBloodTrackers.org, and the test criteria is all right there. Because I don't want to dive into all of the elements of the elite test, but I will tell you this, just as a reminder for folks, it is no joke. The finish test is no joke. Mm-hmm. I failed my finish test, and I mean, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do it.
I failed my first finish test.
Yeah, the finish test is no joke. That elite, it's named that way for a reason. Mm-hmm. An elite has a certain pretentious air to it, and maybe that's okay, because if you can get through it, you are truly at a level. You have experience, and you have a very capable dog. I guess to understate what the elite test is.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw the handling, like when I saw it in Michigan, and it's not just dog, it's handler ability, controlling the situation, reading the dog, being able to tune everything out. You don't know on the started season and finish, what challenges you're going to face. On the elite, you don't. So there is no advantage. Okay.
Nope. So we can talk
that way for a reason. ABTA designed the elite test that way for a reason, that the judge gets to pick all the challenges that they want to incorporate in there, so that the handler isn't aware of what's to come, because when there's an element of surprise that's definitely, you have to be able to think on the spot, not like, oh, I know this is coming and this is coming, and you potentially know what's coming, but you don't know for sure.
So the way it reads, so the elite in itself has certain criteria that have to be met, certain challenges. Yes. Right? Yes. But then there's this whole arsenal of other challenges that are available in the lower level test that you may or may not encounter, and then it's ratcheted up 5 or 6 degrees, if you will, for the elite test.
Yeah, and these challenges are realistic. They're not
100%.
They're not. I mean, yes, it was for acting, whatever. Somewhat, obviously, we're all playing roles in the actual.
Well, we're role playing for sure.
But every scenario, everything that was encountered is 100%. I have encountered all of that in the real world.
Well, and that's how the elite was established, because I was part of that the committee at the time when it was being developed, and all of those. It was just like all of the tests are leading up to it. It is incremental difficulty up to the most difficult of the elite, and it all generated from real world experiences from the trackers, mostly Kenny. I mean, hey, we've run into this, and the other I mean, just because of the experience level, right? And other trackers, was able to comment and suggest ideas that they ran into that really culminated into a really fun process developing that whole test. And it is no joke. And I wish I should have been prepared, because it is documented. We could talk through some of the challenges, but there's crowd participation. There's grid searches, there's scent gaps, there's multiple turns, there's animal distractions, there's property line encounters that are taken to a next level, compared to any of the other lower level tests. Even the property line encounter on the finish test is just a longer wait time. Again, I don't say that to minimize the legitimacy of the finish level test, but the property line engagements on the elite test are a different stratosphere than what you get at any of the lower level tests. And you get two of them. You get two of them in the elite.
Yep. Right. And the time frame to run the test is the same as a finish. It's actually a very tight. There's not room for error.
There's not. No, you're 100% right. So you get 90 minutes, hour and a half on the finish test. Oh, by the way, we're adding, what is it, Kenny, Ralph? Yeah, do you remember how many we're adding a finish? It's like 1,200 yards overall, right? 12 to 15 or something. Yep. It's right in that window overall, right? So, and the finish test is 800 to 1,000. Mm-hmm. So you have more distance to cover, far more challenges to overcome, and no more time to do it. More time to do it.
You got to think quick, and that's a lot of, in the real world, you're having to think quick. You're having to make decisions and roll with them. Not always, but a lot of the times you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, I mean, it forces you to make a decision in certain, sometimes built into the test, contentious situations. Right?
We've been in the real world. We've had that in the real world.
That's my point. You could very well. I haven't personally had a contentious situation yet with a property owner. It's just because I haven't done it long enough.
It's just a matter of time. That's right.
It's coming.
It's coming. Like at the beginning of the video, someone questioned about me giving her a hard time. That's definitely real world.
But I know Kenny, I didn't take it personally. So Kenny and I have known each other a few years.
Oh, I know that, Kayla.
To anyone that doesn't know me and Kenny's dynamic or like our relationship probably would be like, why are you giving that girl a hard time?
But Hunter's
you were in my head, trust me. I was just tuning you out. I was like,
yeah, it's just
game time.
I have to back up. I have too had a contentious property line engagement that with the landowner resulted in a pleasant conversation with the local conservation officer. And it was fine. It was great. It truly was a great conversation. But I've had it, and I haven't been tracking all that long. So
I pulled up on tracks literally with 20 people in the woods looking, and them telling me that there's no one out there. Pulled up with other dogs on the track, not knowing it till my dog ends up at their dog. Yep. I mean, it's just nightmares.
Yeah, nightmares.
And I did have someone reach out to me about, well, how many times you come up on a goat? Well, I've came up on goats, cows, ostrich, emus, zonkies.
You can't track in the Cookman County Zoo, Mullins.
Horses. Horses.
People are hunting on
I've had horses.
And we've been where there's situations where it's like you've got 10-acre parcels kind of, but you're having to like skirt sometimes people's property lines and their farms to find deer.
Yeah. So
it's very realistic.
Let's talk about that because, we're not giving up a secret here. It's documented. You have two property line challenges in the elite test. One, you're allowed to cross, but you have to have your dog on lead. If you're not an on lead tracker, I saw him. Oh my goodness!
Yes, Daniel.
I saw Daniel's comment. We'll get to it later. But
we'll get to you in a second.
Yeah, but you have to have your dog on lead to cross one property, and you don't know which one that's going to be because you have two property challenges. And if you're an off lead tracker, you got to hook up. You just have to do it without excuse, without exception. The other one is you don't have permission to cross the property, and you have to work that out. And we use as many natural boundaries as we can when we're mapping the line, but we have to be sometimes creative with to the extent that we can. But so far, the three that we've done, now I wasn't there in Florida, but I know the two that I was a part of, we was able to be pretty successful in using natural the natural land, a road or a field edge or something like that as a simulated property line. So, you got to a property line you can't cross, but the dog's telling you the deer's got to go. So you got to work it out.
Do you want to tell or do you want me to?
So here it is. Daniel says, I saw a blow-up doll on a track this year. So, yeah, somebody's got to tell it, and I get really embarrassed. Do I need to get my brown paper sack to put over my head before you tell the story?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
You want to tell it or you want me to?
Okay, well, I'll tell up to a certain point. So I think I don't remember what it was, but I had something early to do early in the morning, but Daniel didn't necessarily. So I was like, I'm going to bed. Peace out. You got Daniel to help you. So
that's right. We went. Daniel came with us. You abandoned us.
I did not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I heard it, Ralph. I heard it.
And so
it's a bad night when you pull up to the camp and there's a blow up doll sitting in a chair.
Yeah, and then weren't there like liquor bottles all over, and nobody was around.
There had to be alcohol involved.
We're waiting for everybody to get back, and we're sitting around going, "Holy smokes! Look at here! It was me, Daniel, and Jason Bell."
Daniel just said you were Ralph, me, and Jason. Yep.
So you never know what you're going to run into.
He told me, and I'll add this. He told me that y'all they had tracked this, they had pushed it and tracked it, and they were like, didn't even know where the heck they were. They were like, as they were going on in the track with them, some of the guys were like, I think, yeah, they had marked it. Oh, yeah, this was the last place I saw blood. And then they go, oh no, wait, this is the last place I saw blood. And they're like,
they had marks all over the woods. They didn't realize that the deer had made a horseshoe.
Made a big loop.
They were just marking and marking.
Yeah. And then they came up on a guy that had passed out, and they were about to leave, and they like happened to randomly walk back to the truck, and this guy's just asleep on a side of the tree by himself. And they're like, we're just gonna leave him out here in the woods. You're just gonna wake up tomorrow morning and realize this is some of the crazy stuff you come across.
Yeah, Ralph, don't let Kenny hear this, but he might run the elite test. We have a new distraction.
Oh yeah, we got
a distraction for you.
Matt,
King Tutu.
What's that? No. Want me sitting in a chair like this? Okay, so fun stuff. So we kind of frame the elite test. Like I said, guys, go take a look at it. It's really no joke. There's a lot of crowd involvement, animal distraction. So Kenny, I want to comment. You said, somebody says, how many times are you going to run up on a go? It doesn't matter if it's 100 or 0. The bottom line is it's a distraction. It's an animal distraction. Whether it's an alligator, a goat, a pterodactyl, a porcupine, raccoon.
Oh, I had a giant raccoon on my finish test.
Yeah. So, I mean, how many times we go on tracks and there's all kinds of live animals in the woods, coyotes, you name it. They're everywhere. I mean, why? What's a goat?
I've had 2 poached deers on one track, and it wasn't the deer we were after. I had to get by. You just never know what you're going to run into.
Yeah, exactly. But the goat was awesome.
Yeah, that was a surprise.
So before we get to the elite test, is there anything you want to share about the finish test? And I don't want to diminish the significance of a finish test, but Cam will probably burn that down like it was her job.
Yeah, I was very glad that I got to run that, and I got that confidence boost that morning before then going on the elite, and she did it flawless. She did it great. I mean, I trusted her. I was able to kind of practice handling, because you remember I haven't tracked with her since Thanksgiving, like tracked on a real track because of the surgery and everything. So getting my feet wet. We ran a couple mock tracks before we actually ran the seasoned. Ralph and I did work together because I've never ran her on mock tracks. I've only ever done work with her in real life situations. So I wanted to see how she behaved and on a mock, and Ralph's like no different. There's no difference with her, and he's 100% right. There's no difference. So we ran a mock track, and then we did the season test, and then the finish test. There was no difference how she behaved on that. She gets to the end and gets to the hide, and she's growling with it in her mouth like it's a real deer. There's no difference.
You can tone her off of a mock track. You can't a deer.
Yeah, that would be a different. Yeah. So that's a tale for us when we're actually on live tracks. If I am not like, if we have a couple dogs out, she's doing her own thing, but we've got a couple dogs over here, and I'm like, we tone her to see if she turns back around. We're like, yeah, she's hunting. She's not really. But if we tone her and she keeps going, we're like, all right, leave her alone. She's not coming. She will make you light her up and electrocute her. But she'll even keep going.
We'll say you have to use advanced level stimulation.
Yeah, it's not like, gosh, we're not like, yeah.
Are you sure she got gored, or did you trying to get her back to come back to you? You fried her.
Yeah,
that was. I'm sorry, that was a tasteless joke. And I apologize.
But yeah, so she doesn't do that on tracks.
I know you're not. I honestly know you're not abusing the dog. I know that.
No, well, you think about this. Sometimes we're tracking and there's roads. I don't want her to get run over.
Oh, that's entirely different.
It's life or death. I think that getting a small little zap is more humane than being run over. So
there's a time for it. I don't not saying that you should never use.
You know good and well, if she's on a track, you're gonna have. If you got to stop her, you have to.
Yes.
You have to light her up. But if you know you're in a life or death situation like a hard road or a highway, you got to. I've had her up to 12. Little dog up to 12.
That's the appropriate use. Yes.
And she will sit there and grin and bear it, and you watch it, and she'll take another step. I'll have to hit her again.
Yep.
She's tougher than nails, man. She don't quit on it. She is something else.
Yeah.
But all of those are indicators to let you know. I've also pulled her off, get permission, go across the highway, put her back out, and go back after it again, because we know she's really hard on it.
Yep.
You just got to know how to read the dog. I mean,
my dog's the same way. If I tone her and she doesn't like the line, she'll come right back. If she likes it and it's on, she's going to be kind of stubborn about it. She'll stop, but she won't come back. I have to go to her. So that is a nice tell. So, okay. Well, elite test. Story's yours, Kayla. The floor is clear. I want all of the details.
Well, all the distract. First of all,
Okay, let me frame one more thing, okay, before you start telling it. So the elite test, because I think this is important, because it's related to where you started, okay? So the elite test, part of the elite line, is a true legitimate started level test that has been run 24 hours before the elite test. So we have a 400 to 500 yard line that has had a dog and a handler and a judge, and however many people tagged along follow that line. Okay, now the elite segment, or the rest of the line, picks up at the end of the started level line. So that's the rest of it. The handler has a choice. This is where, and we're trying to, what we're replicating here is a tracker that tracked a deer 400 to 500 yards the day before, jumped the deer, decided that we need to give the deer more time, and we need to resume the track tomorrow. But the original handler, the original tracker, could not make it back. So we had to bring in a different tracker, which is now the elite test handler. So now the elite test handler has a decision to make, very much like the real world. Do you want to start at the original hit site? Do you want to start at the jump site where we simulated jump the deer, which is the end of the started line? Or do you want to start anywhere in between? Totally up to the handler at that point. But if you choose to start at the hit site, you don't get minutes added to your 90.
Right.
You still have 90 minutes. If you want to if you want to start at the jump site, you're welcome to do that. But all of the challenges are built within. You have the normal challenges of the started level line, and all of the elite level challenges start after the jump. So I just wanted to frame that for people, so as you tell your story, they kind of understand what happened there. So go ahead.
Yeah, so this is a typical scenario that we've been a part of in a real life situation where I've been in after another dog that couldn't track. There's been other people, and we've picked up at the jump, and so I treated it just as I would. Besides the time limit of 90 minutes, knowing that I have 90 minutes and I know how camo works, I need all that time that I can get. So I start at the jump.
You chose to start at the jump site.
Yes. Okay. We already know where the deer came from. I don't need to go back that way. I already know. And when I don't know where, I don't know if it's starting in the woods, and this started on a road. So as we're coming up, I'm treating Kenny just like he would be any hunter, and I'm following in, and I see probably 250 yards from where all the trucks are stopped at, where the jump is at. I see John coming through with a dog crossing the road, and I'm like, oh crap, there's somebody else out here currently with a dog. And that has also happened where we have been a part of tracks where someone has their house dog, and they've tagged along with us. The dog doesn't bother us, but anyway, so approach, and here's John and a dog, and get out of the truck. And not only that, we're also on Facebook Live. So more pressure. So I wasn't expecting that. And we drove up to the hit site, and we drove over the line. So not
hold on a second, Kayla.
All
four trucks have driven over the line.
She wasn't nervous, Ralph. Go ahead, Kayla.
Well, I didn't know that was the line. I didn't know the line was down the road.
That's true.
I thought the line. You know, who knows where the line could have crossed the road? It could have went back. Backtrack. Right. I mean, deer do that. We've been a part of that. So, but now I'm looking back, we'd all drove over the line, severely contaminated.
By the way, I knew that.
Not easy. Okay. Get out and Facebook Live, and I just controlling the situation.
Hang on one second. Let me set this up.
Yeah.
The hit site or the jump site is a 30-yard block, and they had a tree marked.
Oh yeah.
In the middle of
yeah.
We're inside that. Well, guess what?
Yeah, that's right.
All 4 trucks are inside this 30-yard box.
We're literally getting out on top of it.
Yeah. 4 trucks, and every person that's in those trucks are now inside the 30-yard block. So,
now, and we know that's real because you know how many times I pulled up.
Overlooking it, but that is major.
Yeah.
Major.
It's real though. I've had where was the deer? Yeah, it was right here. Well, my truck's right there. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So it's real. But go ahead, Kayla.
Yeah. So of course, get out. Kenny's like, if you saw it, you could hear all the back and forth kind of. It made for good entertainment, so I didn't say anything to him. I could have told him at any point in time to be quiet. In hindsight, I didn't say anything, but that's also how me and Kenny are anyway. So not all the time, but that was a lot. I just tuned him out.
I wish you would have told him to be quiet.
Now I'm like, man, I should have been like, Kenny, that's enough. But I didn't. And me and John were cracking up a couple times. It just
it was funny.
It was
the buzzards were on cue. Man.
Them buzzards, yeah, it was a distraction.
Shut up about those buzzards.
Me to stop. It was a distraction because it would get me to stop and talk to him, and I still tried very hard. All I cared about was, okay, I'm watching the dog, watching the Garmin. I'm reading her the whole time. I'm kind of tuning him out. But I was trying to interact with him as far as like explaining the interdigital scent gland like I would a hunter. And then like, hey, I have tracked for you multiple times. Like you should have known better by I've had to tell people that before. Like, why are you going to call somebody else? I'm going to show up and you've done mess it up. I'm going to clean your mess up. I kind of was just, we were going back and forth, but That happens on tracks too. But anyway, so get out, I go over to the, after we get everybody, I said, get everybody out of the woods, bring them all back, get everybody out of the woods. So he got everybody out of the woods. They all have to comply. They all came back to the trucks and go get the dog, get her ready. And this, I always like to talk to the hunter first. It's just how I am on tracks anyways. We like to get as much information as we can. So then we know what kind of game plan we have when we put the dogs out. So I'm getting as much information as I can, which really isn't much other than I shot it over there. I marked it with tape. I have no idea where it went. It maybe went that way. Maybe it went that way. There's buzzards. Them buzzards just flying over there. So I'm like, all right, I'm just, you know what? I'm just going to go. I know that I've got challenges. I'm just going to put my game face on, go get the dog, put the dog in the area, let her work it out and eliminate all the different false scent trails, which essentially. So get her out, go put her on the jump site. And as you saw, it took her a while she wanted to go back. And once I saw that I knew she was on the line and had the scent locked in when she went, like she was going to backtrack back towards the way the started line started. I turned her around. I was trying to see if she would turn around on her own, but she didn't. So I turned her around and she went out to the road and booked it down the road. I was watching her on my Garmin because I knew that if she made it, she went back toward the truck and where the trucks were on the road, and Ralph was just standing there waiting for everything to kind of start. And she passed Ralph. Didn't even pay him didn't pay anybody any mind. And I knew that when she passed him and she was down that road pretty fast, I was like, all right, she's on the line. And I didn't have a call back, so I knew that was the right direction. So from there, I let her work and give her space. I didn't want to push her in any direction, especially once I realized we had just driven from that way. I saw John and his dog come from that way. I knew Brandy and I think Dakota and Hunter had also come out of the woods there and were grid searching. So there was already a lot of scent going on. I didn't want to push her any certain way, so I let her work.
We also had people grid searching the other direction too.
The people were grid searching the other direction to throw me off. And so I was also thinking to myself, because Camo, when she first crossed the road, like she was going to go straight across the road, but then she backtracked. She realized that scent ended. And so she was checking and coming back. And so I was like, crap, they could have went across the road, or they could have came from down here. There's people everywhere. Like, I don't know which way. So I couldn't try to guess based on where they were standing, what way was the right way. So that was difficult, trusting the dog and reading her. And so once we get, I don't even know, it was probably 100, 150 yards down the road. Camo, as she's working, she's checking the trees, the line, to see if any, and that's also where they were going in, but she kept staying on the road. Yeah. And then she finally checked the left and went in. And so I knew, I'm like, all right, that's where the deer went in. So went in into the woods, just followed her, let her work. That was pretty seamless. Just doing what we normally do. And then did we get to the scent gap first? It was the scent gap.
Yes.
But that was probably a few hundred yards in, I think.
Yeah, it was probably 400 yards in.
Yeah. So get into the scent gap. And in the meantime, all from the road to there had all been grid searched. It was a very big area. So get to the scent gap and I hear voices and I'm like, who is that? That to my right. I hear voices to my right.
I heard you talking about that.
Yeah, they didn't know who. In the meantime, Kenny's haggling me, and people are commenting on Facebook, and people are saying stuff and about my stick and the deer poop that was underneath me, and anyways, and my paint, letting that paint dry, and all the things. And so I hear people over here, and so those people were not come to find out, and through talking with Kenny, they were not a part of, well, they were a part of the elite test, but they were not his friends that he was grid searching. They were the other property that was next to him that owned that property. They were there with their dog and their buddies looking for the deer too. So they had a dog over there. And Camo works fine with other dogs. So I wasn't concerned about that. But they had also grid searched where we were going to have to cross a road, and they were going to give us permission to cross the road. But I had to do it on lead. And to back up for a second, I said there was a scent gap between where we were at and where they were. So, and it was also a 90-degree turn at the scent gap. But I also didn't want to trust it, because I'm like, who knows that they didn't go around, like, you know, and if I go straight to these guys, I could have a callback. What if it went 100 yards this way and looped around? So I'm not going to, that could be another distraction trying to go to these people. Mm-hmm. I'm going to follow the deer scent, not interacting with people. So again, as I would normally do on a track. Camo, though, it was like this. John went this way, Kenny went this way.
Yeah.
And then, okay. Yeah. Camo took Kenny's track.
Well, she took John's at first.
Oh, she did hit John's and then came back and then took Kenny's. And I was like, huh, that was kind of, but we ended up getting right back. I mean, the scent gap's only 60 yards, so we were right back on the line. And when we approached, and we did approach, and I followed her. It wasn't straight to the guys on the road. It was a loop around. So it was exactly what I thought happened. And we get there. Of course, I have to put her on lead. Now I'm starting to get nervous. I was not until here, because we don't run Camo on lead. We run off lead. And I have had to put Camo on lead before. She does not like it. And it's not easy with us, you know, the terrain we're tracking in sometimes, because especially with the lead, we're getting hung up in branches. And as you saw, the stupid knot that was in my lead,
because the nerves didn't allow her time to undo it.
I was like, we're sending it. We're going.
But hold on a second, Kayla. You got to the so that was one of the property. Don't forget the random. Yeah, that was one of the property obstacles. Was where you had to go on lead, but there was somebody there, right?
Yeah, there's 3 people there. That was their property. But right before that, I forgot about this. I back up a second. This is people at this hunt club that are there joyriding with their kids on a side-by-side. I don't know if you could hear it in the video, but you could hear a side-by-side go by. And I looked back at Kenny and I was like, are they with you? He's like, no. And I'm like, I told you to get everybody out. Like, they need to stop. And he's like, I'm like, are they legit part of this test? He's like, no.
I don't know who they are.
Oh, he's like, I don't know who they are. I was like, okay. So I wanted to make sure the dog was not, they didn't know there was a dog out, and I didn't want her to be in the road. She could have got ran over. So, but I thought
that was all part of the gimmick. I didn't know that was legit. I didn't know. But I heard, I don't know who they are. I thought you were just gaming it up. They were really so you did.
They really were not. And they, guess what? Hindsight.
Awesome. Perfect.
Yeah, and looking back, guess what they also did? They ran over the line. They ran over all the scent, which happens. Anyways, so I just want to make sure the dog wasn't in the road, and she wasn't. So if she was, I would have been like yelling for them to stop, because but I could see her. She was still 20, 30 yards off the road. So, but anyways, so then we get to the property line, and there's another dog there. She didn't pay him any attention. She's just,
other than getting competitive.
Yes. So we'll get there, but yeah, it's just other than her just bebopping along. And then I had to call her back to put her lead on. And it was like a flip switch. As soon as I put her lead on, she ran. She went to just full force, like running. And also at the time I was like, dang, we're all like, dang, where'd this come from? Like, this little dog just, and then now she's running. And I'm like, it's because she got competitive. She gets like that sometimes with the other dogs we run with. Mm-hmm. She'll get, and that's what happened with that one, which is a distraction for a dog. If they get competitive, they might miss things because they want to get to the deer first. That's right. she just turned it up, and she was just going faster. And I saw her, she would check and come back and check and come back. And she corrected herself a couple times in that block. Not much. When she gets off of the line, she knows pretty quick. If she's off the line, she'll come right back to where she last smelt it. And then she'll go right back on it. She's not a dog that's just going to go wander off by herself, 50 yards and not be on the scent. She's going to go right back. She's gone through enough training and been through enough that she figures that puzzle out and goes right back to where that last scent was. And she's doing everything she can to figure out where it is again, because she just wants that reward so bad. Yeah. So I don't have to worry about her that much. But then I hear, meh.
Did you say my name? What?
I hear that, and I was like, what the heck do we have is going on? And I can see Jason, but I didn't know he had a goat. And being on lead, a goat, he's yelling at me. Now I know I have to go and figure out where the scent picks up. I know we're at the property that I cannot cross. All of that at once. And we're on Facebook Live, and Kenny's haggling me. That's when I felt the pressure. And I try to interact with him and invite him. Like, you're welcome to go on the track. If you ever need to.
Yeah, the goat man.
Yeah,
I want to make sure that was clear. So you got to the second property obstacle.
Yeah.
That was being patrolled by a man with a goat. The tracking goat.
Yeah.
The goat had horns. A leashed goat. So you were confronted by a stubborn property owner with a tracking goat that would not allow you to cross his property.
Right. And so we interact with people like that are not maybe that are anti-deer hunters or whatever, you name it. And where we have to skirt around their property, and they might be yelling at us. If we go on public land, there's people that are protesting sometimes. I mean, luckily we haven't had that too much, but that's a real thing. So I had to handle him, which I did. And then the goat, and making sure that the dog didn't get distracted by the goat. And she wagged her tail for a second, like to be like, I'm friendly. But then she kind of ignored him and went on. I put her on lead, and we went down the road. Now, I was going down the road, and I'm like, okay, well, where's the property boundary? And they kept saying at the fork in the road. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to go left, because I could have went right or left. I didn't know which way, but I went left. And I stopped for a second, because I needed to just start gathering my thoughts. I felt very overwhelmed, and I needed to gather my thoughts. And I was untangling the line. And that was when I was standing there for a little while. And I made the decision I was going to go back to the T in the road where I had met Perry and Clayton, and I think it was John that was there with their dog. And I had to put it on lead. I was going to go to that T, and I was going to go right, the opposite direction. And I thought that might be the property line that I had to skirt around. But as I'm untangling the rope, Kenny's interacting with me, and I start second guessing myself. And then I'm like, looking back, I probably should have taken the call back and just done it. But I ended up going back the way we had just come from. I made a turn, and I was like, you know what? I don't know where the property line is. I'm going to make this guy tell me where the property line is. That was my strategy. I was going to go back to the goat man and ask him to show me where the boundary was, so I knew where to skirt. And he just kept saying, it's at the fork. Well, there was a fork at the right, and there was a T at the left. And so I'm like, if I go the wrong way, I'm running out of time. I need to make a decision. This is a do or die moment. This is when the video goes off. We're going.
Yep. That's right when the video died. Yeah.
Because the video, I know if you paid attention, you realize I backtracked and went back to the, okay, the video went off. So I'm meeting Goatman again, Jason, and I'm trying to get them to tell me where the property line is, and they won't, because they keep just saying, this is the woods. we don't know what you're, this ain't no, we don't know property lines out here. This is the woods. This is the fork. And I'm like, well, if you look at the map, there's a fork to the right and then there's the T to the left. And I'm like, what do you mean? I was super flustered. And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go back and make a right. I'm going to go to the T. I think they're trying to screw with me. I don't know. I'm just going to go to the T. If I'm going the wrong direction, I guess I'm going to go back to the fork. I don't know. And try that direction. Which in a real situation, take the test out. If you have to go around somebody's property, you're going to go to the left. And if you don't find the deer, pick up the scent that way, then you might go try to the right. But the pressure of the time is on me. So if I made a bad decision, I was not going to pass this test and run out of time. So I just made the decision to go left. And then we took a 90 and went right where the guys were at with the dog. And so then I could take the dog back off lead because now I'm halfway on Kenny's property and halfway on the goat man's property. So I'm on the road. So I took her back off lead, and lo and behold, there is a wound bed. Woohoo!
Ooh, hey!
Wound bed. We picked it back up about 200 yards down the road. We picked it back up. And so I'm like, whew, okay.
So hold on, Kayla. Two things. Was Camo tracking when you come to the wound bed, or did you just stumble on it?
She was tracking up ahead, but remember, I asked them to tell me if they saw any blood or any sign, and they saw sign. They told me they have to tell me if they come on the sign because they're handle looking too. So, but the track was in the road that the guy, the side-by-side, had just run over as well. Mm-hmm. So I knew, okay, we're on it. But Camo, I went to go mark the waypoint on the wound bed, but Camo was already going in the opposite side. I accidentally toned her. I was trying to mark the waypoint, and I accidentally toned her. And I didn't know that she was going into the other side because I was going to look at the wound bed. But I was like, crap, I just toned her. So when I put her back, I did not put her back on the line. She came back to me at the wound bed, which screwed me up. And I ended up getting a call back because I screwed up toning her back. I should never have toned her back. I should have just marked the waypoint and let her go do her thing. Because the scent, when it crossed at the wound bed, it went onto the road and it went probably 50 yards and then went into across the block. So she was down going in when I toned her back. And Kenny and John told me this because they saw her, but I toned her anyways. So when I put her back on the road, I put her on the road on the right side, not on the left side, because I'm thinking they're trying to screw with me still. And I pushed her down the road and I got a call back. And I was about to turn her around because I could tell that I'm like, she's going really far down this road, because I could tell she was just walking along with her head up. And I was about to do something and tone her back and put her back on the other side of the road. And then Kenny said, yeah, you got to call your dog back. And I was like, dang it, I knew it. So I put her back on the other side of the road. And then when we walked down, I let her check all the side of the road where it went into the Kenny's block. I saw her pick up where it went in. I didn't know where it went in because I never saw her the first time. And she went in where she was going to when I toned her. So we go in and I was like, how much time do we have? And how many, we had like 11 minutes or 9 minutes.
Well, so she was asking you actually asked how long is the test?
I asked how long it takes. I thought it was 2 hours.
And John thought she asked how much time was left.
Yeah.
And John said 11 minutes. And I could tell it really didn't fully sink into her head right away until I said, John, she was asking how long the time limit is on the test, not how many minutes she has left. And when I said that, I seen it click, and And instead of speeding up, she actually slowed down.
Well, because I started to doubt. That was around the time. Did we go into the woods already, or were we on the road still? I think we went in.
We were in the swamp.
Okay, we had just went in. So we went into this swampy area, but Camo's. I'm thinking he went straight through it, but he didn't. He's weaving in and out of these, whatever these trees are. What were the trees? I don't even know what kind of trees they were.
We call them tie bushes.
Yeah, like we're weaving in and out, and I'm trying to follow Camo, but she slowed down because he's weaving in and out. She's trying to stay on the track. And I realized, I'm like, crap, we might run out of time. I was like, man, we might run out of time.
And she's off lead at this point. You unhooked her, right?
Yeah, she's off lead now. I mean, I could still see her. She's working in front of me. But I was thinking to myself, like, I totally failed her with my stupid toning her on accident. Because how many times does that happen in on a track where you accidentally tone your dog and you're trying to do a waypoint? Anyway, so, and then I'm like, she all of a sudden, it's like she speaks English. I swear to you, it's like she knew. I was like, because I was asking about the time, and it's like she understood that she had to pick it up and put it in fourth gear, and she just started to go fly. Once we went kind of through the little maze, and then she hooked a 90 to the left to go toward about, I don't know, it's 150 to 200 yards left to the hide where it was. I knew I was running out of time, and I'm like, all right, I got to go. And she just booked it. I booked it, and watching her kind of go up and down the pine rows. And then I look across the street, and there's the hide. And I turn around and I said, go get your deer, Kenny. And then, like, he's the hunter. And that's what I tell him. Go get your deer. Yeah. There's your deer. And then I turned back around to go to Camo. And then I was like, wait a second. I turned around and I just started screaming. And I was high-fiving Kenny and high-fiving John. And I'm jumping up and down in the air. I'm like, we did it. And I said to Kenny, I said, your program works. This is a testimony to your program. Your program works. And I ran to Camo and just started celebrating with Camo. So we passed, everybody.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so in case you didn't pick up on it, Kayla
and
Camo
5 minutes to spare
are the first to pass the elite test. Ralph, I gotta ask, you're a pretty even-keeled guy. You and I personally never met, but you are pretty much like this. You had to be beaming with pride, and I will not believe you for one instant if you tell me you didn't, sniff an onion when you got to Camo and Kayla.
Oh yeah, yep.
Oh, you got to tell what Camo did.
Well, hang on, we'll get to it. Yeah,
I'm gonna cry.
When I got to her, it was about as big a hug as I could give somebody.
Hell, I'm getting a little emotional.
Man.
Now let me tell you what happened.
I could be of her, and just all those things, just awesome, freaking awesome. I didn't doubt it. I mean, I was nervous. I knew both of them could do it, but
But now it had been done.
I walked by John. I walked by Kenny, and he didn't say nothing. And I looked at John, and I put the thumbs up, and he went, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Oh heck yeah," because I was 5 feet away from her when he shook his head, because I didn't know what was going on. We didn't know. Nobody. We didn't know anything.
Because Kenny told me, because he called me shortly after the pass and told me about it, but he just told you they were done. Come on to the end point, right? He didn't tell you that he passed, right?
No, I texted John and I said, "Are y'all done?" And he said, "Yes." So all 4 trucks, we took off up there to where they were, because I had them on the XL. I could tell where they were.
Yeah.
So we just drove around to them.
Okay.
I'm gonna tell you the best part.
Now we're all ears, Kayla.
So, we walk off. I should know she was tired. I thought about giving her water when I was going to put the lead on her, but I was like, no, if I get to another property line and I have to wait, I didn't know if there was a potential wait. I didn't want to waste any time. So I didn't give her water. I knew she was tired. So we're sitting there. She's literally sitting on her side, and I got water out for her while waiting on them to pull up. And we're probably 40 yards off of the hide. And I'm just me and her getting some water, and here come all the trucks, and then Ralph comes out, and they're all talking. I'm not really paying attention to them, and then go up to them and congratulate each other and hug and celebrate. And then he went to go over and see Camo. She's still over by the water, and he's like, "Come on, Camo, let's go. Good girl, let's go, Camo." She lit up when she saw him, was so happy, and her little tail was wagging. She turned around and started going back, and he's like, "No, come here, Camo, come." And I said, "Ralph, she wants to show you the hide." And she took him back to the hide, and she showed it to him, and she was so proud, and she started chewing on it. It was the sweetest thing. He is her first love. She wanted to show him what she had found. It's like she knew, like, "Dad, look what I did. Like, we did it." That was the sweetest thing to see that and be a part of that. It's just like the relationship and the bond between a dog and their owner, and just how much.
Yeah. Wife's chopping onions, isn't she, Ralph?
Working dogs. Yeah, I mean, like, a pet. You have pets and you have working dogs, but she is special. She is a once in a lifetime dog, and I don't mean that lightly. Like, me it's an honor and a privilege to track with Camo and Ralph and be a part of the program. Like, there's nothing like it.
Well, and I knew this was going to be an awesome discussion tonight. And again, I may be, a big burly dude, to put it nicely, but I'm freaking soft as a marshmallow in many, many ways. And when it comes to stuff like this is where I'm the softest marshmallow, because like I said, I think my wife is cutting onions here in the basement in my office too. And I knew that's why I thought it was important to.
There she is.
There's your baby, Ralph. But that's why I thought it was important for everybody to understand the backstory of Camo's story. Mm-hmm. And Ralph, I hope you chronicle some of this stuff. Just write stuff down, because this to me is really something.
Just the way I am, and I have every track from the first track to now written down.
Good.
Yeah, I journal every track.
Because someday, hopefully a long time from now, maybe that turns into a memoir or something like that. Yeah, she's hugging nose. Kayla, congratulations, kiddo.
And one of the things I do that when I have apprentices, when they move up and move out of the apprentice, I always give them a journal book.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Kayla got one.
I texted you, Ralph. I don't know if you checked your phone. Matt was asking for a picture, and Alan.
Yeah, I texted you too, but I wasn't going to bring it up. You got one, Ralph?
Ralph has it. The ribbon.
Kayla, you didn't send Brandy the pictures. Not all of them. Not all of them.
Yeah, I sent her. Yes, I did.
She didn't get one of you and Camo.
I thought I did. I'll send them to you.
No, hang on a minute.
Good girl. The color of the ribbon, Alan, it's purple.
Yeah, purple and black.
Purple and black.
Pretty sweet. And the reason it's purple Anybody remember?
It's because it's royalty.
It's for royalty. Purple is associated with royalty and elite.
I've been joking around with Ralph about camo, and he's like, she's not gonna want to come back. You're spoiling her, and I'm like, she's royalty. Of course she's.
Yeah, you mean
it.
Absolutely right. You better be spoiling her.
That's right. We can actually say it. She's royalty.
She is royalty. But somebody tell a joke or something, because I want to get this. I want to get this picture up.
Yeah, put one of just Kayla on there. That was a better picture.
I don't know.
Oh, what are you going to put?
It's always better when it's just Kayla.
No.
Well, the cool thing is, Ralph, is I get to make that decision.
Oh, where's the picture of you took at the finish line, Kenny? You got that one?
Yeah.
I believe so. Let me
you
check.
You sent it to me. That's what you need to put up.
I'm checking now.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. Bear with me a second. But in all seriousness, man, this is what a great just what a great story overall.
I didn't take one. My phone was dead.
Oh, John Vaughn took it. He sent it to me. Do you have it?
No.
Oh.
I do have a picture of you in the swamp. I'm gonna send that to Matt.
There you go.
Oh, I can send it to you. I have it. Here, Matt.
Okay.
This is I think this is a cool picture. This was in the heat or in the excitement of the moment. I'm glad y'all took that one.
All right. Yeah, let me get this one too. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Oh man.
You see it?
I do see it. I wish I was there for that. I'm so happy for you guys, man.
Well, why didn't you send it to me?
Oh my gosh, I'm going to send it to you right now. I'm so sorry.
Get it together, Kayla.
Off the totem pole I went.
I'm sorry. Hold on. I thought I sent it to you.
You don't ever send me stuff.
Yes, I do. I was also falling asleep. Oh my gosh. I was so tired Saturday between doing the finish. We left at 4:30. We got up at 3:45 in the morning. Left at 4:30. 2-hour drive to Perry. It ran all the tests that we ran. I mean, there were a lot of other people that did great jobs. We had the elite, that was the icing on the cake, but we had a big day, and then did the finish test, had lunch, did that elite test, and then I pretty much was a pumpkin the rest of the day. I curled up in my little rocking chair, the blanket, and I was like falling asleep on the truck ride home, and I forgot to send that picture. Actually, I didn't get that picture until the next day anyways. John didn't send it to me until the next day.
Yeah, because you ran the finish test, then you judged my finish test.
I went on you with your finish. And if any of my friends are on here, my CrossFit friends, I did the 26.1. I did the open workout Friday night. My thighs, my legs were like screaming. And then I trounced on the wood.
Hearing about your legs hurting.
Yeah. Ralph heard me complaining quite a bit about my legs and how bad I was like, man, my legs feel like they're 100 pounds just walking through these woods. I was like, God, they're killing me. Anyways,
I don't know why all of a sudden this thing is being
I had to get her in this gym program so she could keep up with me.
Oh yeah, I obviously. I mean, that's awesome. Hold on, guys. I got to get this up. This stuff is too good not to share. Then we'll.
Yeah, this was a tough year for tracking dogs. Still, in general, we had a lot of people that I know whose dogs died, didn't make it, or were injured really bad.
Were injured, yeah. There were.
This was a tough year.
Yep.
So I'm just so thankful that she made it.
She made it.
Yeah, in fact, the dog that I tested on the finished, I barely got to track with her this year. The beginning of season I did, but we had another local tracker here whose dog died, and I loaned her out to him. And just last minute, I decided I was going to test with her, and hadn't worked with her, but it worked out.
Yeah.
So Kayla, I got to ask you while I'm getting these pictures around, how you must have, when you found that wound bed, you must have felt like just the entire world was lifted off your shoulders. It had to be a tremendous relief.
Mm-hmm. I knew we were getting close to the end at that point, just based on how long we had gone. But I didn't know. I knew we still probably had maybe anywhere from 200 to 400 yards, knowing the distance of how long the track is. But yeah, I was kicking myself, and I went back and thought about it, and I talked to Ralph about it. I talked to everybody, Kenny and everybody about it. I was like, dang it, man, I can't believe I accidentally toned her like that. That set me back. That set me back about 5 or 6 minutes because of the callback. Going back around when I circled back and backtracked and went back through the property where I had to go on lead to meet up to Jason with the goat the second time. That was probably 10 minutes. So I probably about 15 minutes of that could have cost me of error on my part. Not the dog, my part.
Yeah. So let me,
and one thing that me watching you work, you missed a very important clue that would have saved you a lot of time. And that was Camo trying to enter the woods on the private property, the direction that she was going.
Yeah. I saw that too. My nerves were just, whew. Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at this. This is let me go full screen with this, just so how do I go full screen with this? What's going on here? Nope, not that one. That's not what we're trying to do. But anyway, there's the moment right there. There's the moment of the find. Camel's got a hold of it. Kayla's fist pumping. Must have been one heck of an emotional moment right there.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, at the end, my buzzards played the part too. They were flying low.
That hide stunk so bad.
Yeah, we don't care. So here we go. There you go. There's Miss Kayla, and look at this. This is hey, this is a historical photo right here. Mm-hmm. This is the first photo of a dog with all 4 ribbons.
Yep.
And then here it is. Look at this. What a great picture.
Yeah.
And I'll ask you guys. I'll ask you guys after when we wrap up here. So, all right, man. So, congratulations. Hell, I'm proud of you guys, man. I'm so happy for you guys. What a special accomplishment. Just made more special by just the whole Camo story, man. And having the one of the co-founders dog be the first to pass the elite, the co-founder of the ABTA, handled by
his apprentice.
Handled by his apprentice. A special, guys.
Yep.
It's full circle.
I will definitely say I mean, if anybody wants to get into tracking, again, it's not for the light. It's hearted. It's not for the weak, but it is a lot of fun. It's super rewarding. You can learn it. I mean, I learned it. Come on, but I'm just. I actually have something really cool to say. So time out. I'm going to still tell you what I'm going to say. I have something really cool that I found out. But anyways, you need, I mean, do what I did. Get involved. Put yourself out there. Go to an ABTA event. Go to a seminar. Go walk along on a track, a handler with a judge, and watch them and their dog. I mean, they're not going to say no, especially if you want to learn. Apply to be an apprentice, get assigned to a mentor, and put in the time. You're not going to be able to improve if you're not willing to sacrifice. And it means sacrifice sometimes personal things, because if you really want to do this and be good at it, and learn and grow, you're not going to do it by watching football on Saturdays or going to cookouts, or, I mean, it literally is like, my family knows that this is a part of me, and it wasn't. And I didn't know it was until I did it, and how much I love it, but it was hard. So get involved, go to an ABTA event, find a local tracker, a good reputable one. Kenny's got a mentorship program with ABTA. So if, depending on what state or where you're at, he can connect you with, or our team, everybody in the ABTA can connect you with somebody in that state liaison to get you where you're mentoring with somebody, and get you a dog that you can get trained, that you can work with and do. The best way to work with a dog is to go out in the woods with it and read it and study it and let it fail. I think I saw somebody say a comment about failure. Failure, doing bad or not doing well on a track is not a failure. You're learning, you're letting your dog learn. And Kenny can say this too, because he trains, I don't train dogs, but he does. When your dog's learning something, even in the failure moments, and so are you as a handler.
And that was Mark Maniaci. Let me bring his comment up. And you're absolutely right, Kayla.
In my failure with Stella, in my very first track with her, and Kenny judging me, I learned something from that. I learned something about myself, and I mean, it just, you can do it. So, yep, that's what Mark said. And something really cool. It was around Christmas time. I was saying something to my husband. I was like, man. I was like, I don't know where, like, I do love dogs, but like, I don't understand where I get like all of this like passion for tracking, and like, where does this come from? Like, was I born to the wrong family? Like, joking around. I was like, I don't know, like, it's weird. Like, I'm this isn't like, my family doesn't do this, but I do. And my husband got me into hunting. Okay. So full circle. My husband got me into hunting. I shot my first deer and I didn't find it. And I found it a week later because I went to go hunt the same spot, and I saw coyotes at the very end of the lane, and I knew I shot it, and the coyotes were there on the carcass. And then that's how I found my first deer. And a few months later, I was talking to a buddy at work about it and showing him pictures of it, because we got it mounted. And my good friend Tyler, he shot a deer the same day and gave me the hide off of it so I could still mount my first buck. And talking to my friend about it, and he's like, dude, have you heard of the Florida Blood Trail Network? And I was like, no, what is that? So he added me to the Florida Blood Trail Network. And he's like, if that ever happens to you again, get on there, go on the Florida Blood Trail Network and post where you are, what time, what you shot, pictures. A handler or tracker in that county will contact you and come out and track your deer. And I was like, really? That's kind of cool. So several months later, my husband, bow season, shoots his first deer, or not first deer, but the opening weekend or something like that. It was going to be his biggest buck to date. And so I was like, let's get on the Florida Blood Trail Network and let's get a dog out here. We had already tracked at 800 yards and jumped it. Okay. Mm-hmm. I didn't know any better. You
didn't tell me that.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. We didn't jump it. We didn't jump it. We recover deer so differently because we have learned so much. I mean, people in our hunt club have been educated, and even they call us. They're like,
Absolutely.
They recover deer differently now because it's like, why? I mean, why when you've got dogs at your fingertips? Like, anyways, and how many deer have we pushed and not found because of the things we didn't know, right? So, anyway, I had another handler come out, didn't find it after Last Blood, and then again, Jason followed up, and that's with me because I'd also called Jason.
So this is all Jason's fault.
And yeah, and so. Yeah, and it was 42-hour-old track. And so anyways, that was the coolest thing I'd ever done that night. I was like, this is so freaking cool. Like, that was the coolest thing I ever did. I want to do that again. I was like, this is what I was supposed to do. It took me a really long time to hunt and kill my first, deer. And I'm like, this is what I don't want to leave a deer in the woods. I don't want anyone ever to experience what I experienced. I want to on a track. And come to find out, so I'm making this sad story. Okay, I like to tell stories. Making this sad story about Christmas time, how I was like, I don't know why I'm born to this family. Like, I'm just joking. I really didn't say that, but I was like, man, where do I get this from? My grandfather had dogs. My dad tells me, oh, by the way, yeah, your grandfather had hunting dogs. I was like, what? He's like, yeah. He's like, he had Sport, Bozo, Hank, Brownie, and he's telling me all their names, and I was like, that's where I get my passion from, my grandfather. Like, who knew? So my dad has a really cool 20 gauge that he's allowed me to use if I need to use it. And it was my grandfather's that he carried with him in the woods. And so now I have that if I need to, carrying my grandfather's shotgun, and have a new dog, a blackmouth cur that I just got, named her Sport after my grandfather's dog. I found out. So, and just my dad was super proud whenever I told him that I named my new dog Sport. It was like I wanted to surprise him and tell him that I named my new dog after my grandfather's dog once I discovered this. And he was like, oh, you're keeping it in the family heritage. He was so happy. He just gave me a big hug. He just thought that was the sweetest thing. So I just thought that was really cool to learn that about my family history and figure out where I got that passion from. It's from my grandfather.
Know that it's in there, yeah, and it's just, you never know what's gonna latch on. I mean, I coached football for 27 years. I've talked about ad nauseum, and that I defined myself as a football coach. I had, when I retired, it left a massive void. Entered the tracking world, and now I'm just as passionate and committed to tracking as I was coaching football. I don't know if I've got 27 years in me, but you never know what's going to, and it's just, I define myself as a tracker now. I love it, dog person. And I do want to put this Kayla Tyer guy again says, yes, she was nervous. She cleaned all night before she left. Anxious, Ralph, not nervous.
Yeah.
Whatever. There's another comment I wanted to pull up, and we'll wind it down here because it's been a while. But there is one comment I want to. I scrolled by it 100 times. Oh darn it! Of course, now that I want to find it, I can't.
That's our club president, or former club president.
Kayla Tyer is the best. I said it first. Rogero?
Philip Rogero.
Rogero.
Yes. Yeah. We hunt with him at our hunt club.
All right. I will concede, Philip. Kayla's kind of cool. But guys, look, man, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing the story. I had something else planned for tonight, which is we'll push it to next weekend, or the 2 weeks out to the next show. But so I'm really super happy that you guys can come on and share the story, because, like I said, it's a good one, and if you have any ounce of a soul and a little bit of a heart, it should touch you. If it doesn't, you're a robot, and please don't comment here because we don't want to hear what you have to say. I'm kidding. I don't mean to be, but I really do appreciate it, man.
I wish I would have thought to get John on here because John was the judge, and I wish I would have thought to have him here tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean it has to be the end. We can have John on to tell his side of the story. It was fun. I mean, it's just, to me, you know what, Kayla, you should have been a little nervous. It keeps you on your toes. It means you care. If you should be a little nervous, anxious, whatever semantic you want to use to describe your nerves. It's normal.
It's just the
clean
pressure.
That up very well.
My thing was the pressure. The pressure of I wanted to do it for Camo and make Ralph proud. So that was the pressure.
Check.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. So, Kenny, is there any other comments here? Like I say, we're not gonna be able to hit them all, and there's a lot of
other than that. If I decide to do an elite, I'm going to be very anxious.
And I cannot wait to be your haggler. Yeah, I can't wait to haggle you.
Oh, Ryan Haley. Ryan, you are you are close to being banned from the live streams. See here, Kenny. Ryan Haley says, DJ, since you are showing pictures, it'd be good time to showcase Matt and Baru dancing. Actually, I think we have Ryan. He saw that in Michigan. It was a lot of fun. But all right, guys. Queen Elite Camo, Daniel says again. All right, we'll be here all night if I keep scrolling the comments, guys. Again, I appreciate it. Really fun. I appreciate you sharing the story. Yeah, wonderful stuff. Ralph, you got any closing word you want to share?
Nope, I'm good. Just
Kayla?
Both of them.
Yep, I said everything I need to say. I'm down with my 10,000 words today.
You got a word counter? Kenny?
No.
So I'll close with this. Kayla, you talked about getting out, putting in the work. And I've talked about it a million times forever, and a lot of times here on these lives and on even my Tales on Trails podcast. I'm a massive John Wooden fan. Huge. If you don't know who John Wooden is, for heaven's sakes, folks, look him up and watch some of his videos. But legendary UCLA basketball coach. But anyway, one of the things that he says is success travels in the company of hard work. So if you want to be successful, you got to put in the work. The other thing he says is there is no substitute for hard work. There's no trick. There's no easy way. We all know that Al Sherman says you can't cheat the grind. Those are all. Here's another one for you. You know the difference in Kenny. I've said it here before, but Ralph and Kayla, and new listeners, we're down to 15. But you know the difference between a 250 average batter and a Hall of Fame batter? One hit for every 20 at bats. So get up and swing the bat. Get off the couch. Run those practice lines. Do the work. Take the tracks when you can. Family's important. Family matters. But the work matters. Mm-hmm. And Kayla, you put in the work, and you have just achieved, in terms of credentials, the highest, at least in the United States, the highest achievement in the testing world with Ralph's beautiful Camo. Yeah. And you should be proud of that. All right, guys. We'll leave it at that. And guys, thanks for listening. We are on 2 weeks out. We want to talk about 2 weeks out. I think the topic's going to be, and this is subject to change because I got another topic that I'm working on that I think would be, actually, I might try to tie in nicely after this one 2 weeks out. But, succession planning for dogs, and then I've got another testing testimonial that I want to come on and have somebody on and talk about. But so guys, thanks for listening. Your comments are there. Feel free to keep commenting. Ralph and Kayla, thank you so much. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And obviously hang with me for a minute, guys, when we go off here. But other than that, guys, more the good, less the bad. Thanks for watching.
All right. See y'all.